I've done a lot of flying lately. Not near as much as Ed, but I've done a lot of flying lately. And you know, it's been joked that if you sit next to Rusty on the airplane, you're going to be a Grange member before we land. Well, I had to take a commuter flight, an hour flight. Okay? And I was on that commuter flight, and I had 2 other executive committeemen from the state of Washington on that flight with me. And there's only 12 rows, 4 seats, you do the math. Okay, so it's pretty small. One sitting in row 3, one sitting in row 7, and of course, I'm the young guy, sickler in the back. Okay? Well, as the plane fills up, you know, I did get even with them because there was a nice, young, beautiful girl that came and sat next to me. Well, it's one of these commuter flights, you know, propeller deals and everything else, so you got to yell at each other for everybody to hear anyway. As you can all tell, I have a real soft voice, nobody can hear me. So anyway, I get to talking with this gal. I find out that she's an administrator at the community college from the town we're just flying from, and that she's having a real struggle with this and that and the next thing. And she saw the Grange on my shirt and started asking me about the Grange and what is the Grange. And I asked her where she lived. I told her where the closest Grange was to her house. And pretty soon, you know, we're talking Grange. And I said, you know, the Grange really we have a pretty good education policy here in the state of Washington. Oh, really? Well, how do you feel about this? So I told her, you know, how we felt about that and where our policy was. And she goes, really? And I says, yes. And I says, you know, we could really use somebody with your expertise in the Grange to help us set policy for the future. Really? I could do that? Oh, yes. In the Grange, we're grassroots. You can see where this is going, right? Okay, I do this for an hour. Plane lands, we're taxiing over, and of course we're waiting for our little parking spot that's kind of quiet in the plane. All of a sudden, the executive committee sitting in row 3 turns around and goes, does anybody else in the plane have any questions for Rusty about the Grange? So send her phone number? Yeah, exactly. And I only had 6 cards with me. So you got to be prepared for those kind of things. But see, it's those kind of things. You find out who you're talking to, and then you give them what they need. Because can we do that in the Grange? Yes. Sure we can. Our policy book is full. Have you seen the National Grange policy book? It's thick. Okay? We can cover a lot of things. So we can do that. So the Grange can really give them opportunity. So tomorrow we need to remember that. Do we guess at what they need? No, we get to know them. We get to know them. If they don't tell us much about them, we stay in the broad sense. We can't focus in because we'll lose them. We'll lose them, or you have the chance to lose them. Be there. What does that mean? Any ideas? Aha, you nailed it. What? First one, pay attention to the person that you're talking to. Have you ever been talking on the phone with somebody while they're reading their emails? And can you tell? Oh yeah, you can. Can you tell if I'm standing there talking to you, and pretty soon I'm watching, you're talking to me and I'm looking back there, I'm nodding. Am I listening? Maybe. Not very well.
Yeah.
Not very well. So how do you know when somebody's listening to you?
Response back.
That's the number 1 thing. Make sure you look at them. Look them right in the eye. Yeah, that will get you in trouble. Okay. What about your body language? Does anybody know if you're listening by the way you're standing? Your arms crossed, your arms in your pockets, on your hips. Yeah. You know, if I'm standing this way and you're talking to me, am I really paying attention? So when we're talking to folks, and you want to talk to them about the Grange, you want to learn about them, make them feel important, you know, you got to stand up. You got to face them. You got to look them right in the eye. You know, do you smile? Is it better to smile or not smile?
If you enjoy what you're talking about, of course you're going to smile.
Exactly. You know, and if they want to talk about something else, okay, but we're going to be there for them. So, ensure relevant meetings and activities. If we're going to talk about it in our Granges, and we're going to be there for them, when they come to our meetings, are they worth coming to? if you were going to go ask a non-Granger, would you ask them to come back to one of your meetings knowing that that meeting was going to sell it? They're going to join after coming to our meeting. Yeah? Does everybody believe that? In your personal home Grange, your little, mine's St. Andrew's Grange, I really think that if I bring somebody back to my Grange Hall and they sit through one of my meetings, that they're going to want to say, sign me up.
Some Granges got something.
Your Grange is better than mine.
Better than mine too.
You know, I would just hope and pray that the master lets us set up the hall.
I know.
Yeah.
Okay? Because a lot of times when Rusty doesn't show up, my master says, Rusty's not here tonight. Let's just sit around the table. Okay? But it's those kind of things. You know, we want to make sure that they're relevant. Because if we go to a meeting and we feel like we get something done, we're going to make sure we do some important work. Same with our activities. If people see us selling hot dogs at the parade and they know that all the money that we make from this is going to the scholarship fund for the high school, are they more willing to pay $5 for a hot dog? Sure. Sure they are. It's a donation, right? It's for the kids. I mean, we got all kinds of sales pitches for that, don't we? Is that activity relevant? Sure it is. Sure it is. So leaders focus on the members. Members are their customers. So who's our customer?
Members.
And what are we selling? Okay. They're listening. They're all right. Sometimes I wonder.
We're looking at you.
Okay.
You've got eye contact.
Exactly. Exactly. Members focus on the welfare of others. You know, we're looking out for them. We're there for them. We want to make sure we're filling their needs. Grange focuses on issues brought before them. If somebody brings something up, this is where I was going earlier, and I had to backtrack because I knew it was coming up later. Okay? But if somebody brings something up, we need to talk about it. We don't say, we'll wait till next meeting for that. How does that person feel at that point?
They're not important.
They don't care what I'm thinking. They don't want to do what I'm doing. So we got to talk about these things.
But sometimes it is necessary to table something in research.
Oh, it is. There are times when you need to put that subject off.
And sometimes you need to assign it to a committee to come back with more information at the next meeting.
This
So
is true.
you can make an educated decision.
This is true. So what you're saying is it's okay to do some work between Grange meetings.
That's why the executive committee is there. That's why individual committees are there. That's why we're there 3 nights a week.
But me as the master, how am I to control what those guys talk about if I'm not there?
I think it says something about in conjunction with.
You have work to assign to people to each committee as the master.
Exactly. Exactly.
Another way to control is don't let them on committees.
Don't do what?
Another way to control what happens is don't let them on committees.
Exactly. We only do everything in the meeting. That way I can control it.
Occasionally, the same
It's a lot
thing.
easier that way. This is Rusty's Grange, right?
You don't get much done, do you?
They don't.
Dwindling.
The membership is going down.
Exactly.
Exactly. So,
There you go.
so why adopt a new altitude? Okay? We need to make sure that we're flying high. We need to make sure that we know that Grange is about people. It's not about the hall. How many Granges are out there solely existing so that they can have a hall in their community? Anybody know of one?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, it's a pretty popular idea amongst Granges that have Grange Hall.